Is renting your car on Turo worth it? Is Turo a 2024 gold mine or gimmick? Are you tired watching your car collect dust and piling bills at the same time? Well, in this video, you're going to discover how Turo is a secret tool to your financial freedom in 2024 and 2025. And the outcome of this video, you're going to be able to clearly understand whether Turo is a viable option for earning extra income for 2024. By the end of this video, you'll be able to decide if Turo is the right hustle for you. I'm going to share the pros and cons and the potential of you earning extra money. You will also pick up practical tools for maximizing your earnings and hassle-free. I want to share with you some of the advice that I have myself based off my experience. I'm committed to providing you with an honest hosting, transparent review, and inspire you to unlock your earning potential. Ultimately, the goal of this video is to empower you to take control of your finances and unlock your earning potential using your car through Turo. Stay tuned. Want to stay ahead of the Turo's next move? Hit the subscribe button right now for the latest news tips to maximize your earnings as a host. As a seasonal Turo host with over 4 years experience in bookings of 90% booking rate, I navigated through the platform's atrocities and witnessed the evolution firsthand. Let me share the insights of my Turo journey with you. I want you to stay ahead. I want you to maximize. I want you to do so many things here. So make sure you stay tuned. I'm going to provide you with strategies to boost your income. I'm going to give you expert tips on vehicle selection, maintenance, inside knowledge of navigating Turo's platform. I don't want you to miss out. Over here is Car Share Genius. This is the course that goes more in depth other than a YouTube video that gives you that inside knowledge, one-on-one help. Also, it's a community of folks over here already right now that's really seeing the impact in their lives with what I'm talking about. One of the most effective ways to boost your Turo car earnings is implementing a strategic pricing strategy. Be careful by analyzing your local market and adjusting your rates accordingly. You can attract more rentals and maximize your revenue. So we're going to go over this, right? I'm going to talk about exactly what you need to do to get yourself going. So make sure you're away from all your distractions. So there's some strategies that I would say, is it worth it? Is it worth being on Turo 2024 going into 2025? Is it worth it? Let's talk about it. Some of the things that I've seen in the past before is that with Turo, you had a lot of changes. You had a lot of people who say they wanted to do something. You have people who were saying that they were scared to do things because of some of the changes that they had. Some of those changes, for example, is this new matrix, right? They got this matrix. And this thing is wanting 5 stars all the time. So now with this in mind, they're talking about including maintenance, cleanliness, all these extra things. And so far, it's been mixed reviews. You have some people who sit there and say this thing is terrible, while you have other people say it's perfect, it's great. But the thing is, those people saying it's perfect and great are not telling you the inside details of what they're doing. Because the thing is, you are also penalized for not being able to get a person to rate it. What my recommendation for Turo, which I think this thing's going to change very quickly, if you get so many people say I'm pulling out of here, is that I got a letter today and I'm used to having 5 stars. Nothing's changed other than a new matrix. They looking back at stuff in October. So you can have a customer who do retaliatory reviews. You have customers who sit there and tell you some things, there's something's wrong with your vehicle, and you get the vehicle, there's nothing wrong, but they already made a bad review, and sometimes Turo's not going to take it off, and that impacts you. Now, they say that if you keep getting bad reviews, they're going to pull you up. I don't think that's what's going to happen, guys. Honestly, be honest with you, they're going to see that this is a bad idea. And the way they can improve this, and I hope that someone sends it to Turo, is that a customer is not forced to do a review. You're not forced to do a review. But I believe as part of the checkout process that a customer should have to have the ability, they shall, in my honest opinion, they shall be forced to do a review before they can check out the vehicle properly. Meaning that they have closed out, the whole trip is over with. Before they can do anything, before the transaction's done, they have to do the review. So when you're doing your whole checkout, like as a Turo host, when you get your vehicle back, you're checking everything, you're checking the mileage, you're checking the pictures, everything is good or whatnot. Then you can rate your customer based off what you got. Same thing should be said about your guests. Your guests should be going through their pictures, checking out the vehicle, making sure they put the keys back wherever they're at, or handing the keys to the valet, and say, hey, you got one more step you need to review, because you can send out all these reviews. You can already send out the reminders, but customer be like, okay, I'm done with your car. I don't need it no more. And they just go on their merry way. So that's one thing that I say is a negative to me right now. Let's talk about the next thing. So, guys, can this truly be a gig? Is it truly worth it? Well, we're going to talk about it right here. I wrote down some of these things that you should take in consideration. There's car depreciation, maintenance increase, insurance complications, marketing demand change, and time commitment. And we're going to hit this one by one. So, the first thing I want to talk about is car depreciation. That is very straightforward. As you know, as you put more miles on the car does depreciate over time. When you literally take the car out of the lot, it's going to go right out the door, right? It's out the door, price goes down. And it goes down for so long, right? So if you got a car that you said, well, I want to get the resale value and stuff at a certain cost, this may not be for you. What I do suggest for people, instead of you financing vehicles, you need to go ahead and get cash cars. You should have cash cars available for you. It's a lot cheaper and you do get your return on your investment. That's all I deal with now. I have two cars that I financed at the very beginning of this journey, but other than that, they're done, right? They're done for, already paid for. But going forward, I would not recommend anyone going ahead and buying $50,000 cars, because you got to think about, you're going to have to get that money back eventually. And God forbid you get in an accident. It's a lot easier if you're doing a cash car, you get your money back and so forth. So the second thing that I would tell people is that your car maintenance, with depreciation going down on your value of your vehicle, your maintenance is going up. So what does that mean, Luke? We talked about that in the last video. So the last video we talked about maintenance. As you know, the car's being driven more. So more oil changes, more tire rotation, more tire change out, more streamlined maintenance. Spark plugs, for example, shocks, brakes, calipers, antifreeze flush, all those things take in consideration. So when you're doing this, you want to take this in consideration. Say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that I put enough money away to handle for any maintenance related costs, because you will have maintenance. That's something that you can't get around. You will have maintenance, and your best deal is to try to deal with a local mechanic that you have to build a relationship with. I'm not saying you can't go to Firestone. I'm not saying that you can't go to Pep Boys or whatnot. But at the end of the day, you're trying to cut costs as much as possible while keeping the car safe. Some of these places will mark up the price on basic stuff, so you have to take that in consideration. That's why I have a relationship with my mechanic, a mechanic that I can rely on, who can take care of me and make sure my car is up and running in no time. Insurance. Now, when I say insurance being complicated, this is what I'm talking about. When you're dealing with insurance, you're dealing with not your regular insurance. When I was with Allstate and the first time they heard about me having a car on Turo, they said, wait a minute, I thought this was for a business. I say, it is for a business. I say, I have rentals on there, but they didn't want to hear it. As soon as I said it, they say, no, sorry, we got this on the recorded line. You're not, we're going to just cut off all your cars. I said, wait a minute, what? Say that again? They said, well, we don't deal with car rental policy. And they didn't understand what that meant. What that all meant was, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with Turo, you're on a protection plan. As soon as the car is rented out that day, protection plan kicks in. When the car's off, insurance kicks in. And they couldn't make left or right from all that mess right there. So, we went away. I went away to another company called Tent, which was in the other video. So Tent right here, you definitely want to check them out. They have good deals. They're where they work with you. And what they do is basically, instead of you driving a car, because again, I don't drive my cars. I drive none of my cars. If you're a type of person, well, I got to drive my car on weekends, this may not be for you. But with them, they'll allow you 300 miles per car for a month at a reduced price. Now, take these cars are going to official places of business, going to get an oil change, going to get the tires rotated, going to go check the car at a mechanic shop to do some further work on it. I'm going to take the car to get an inspection. I'm going to go get the car to go get washed, and et cetera, et cetera. That's covered right there. So it's very easy, very straightforward. And I'm telling you, I never had a problem with these guys. I'm going to be working with them very more, with more cars coming in. The next thing is the market demand being changed. So I did a little sign and did a delta for my mathematicians out there. So all that means is that depending on what's going on in my area, or my car's gonna be moving more, or my car's gonna be moving less, what it is. So right now, in the current month that we're filming this is in November, our cars are doing pretty steady. Usually I have guests that book last minute. But if I have a slow period, I go back to my maintenance. I try to move my maintenance to the left, meaning that I try to do it to the left versus waiting until it to be done on a certain time period. Because while you got that downtime, you could be doing something with your vehicles, setting them up for success so they're always ready. Time commitment. To me, I ain't got no damn time commitment. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Ain't no time commitment for me. And why you say that, Luke? Because I'm living in another country. I'll be honest with you. I'm living in Bahrain. I'm not even living in the United States, and I'm able to do this. You probably like, how? Check out the course. This course is going to walk you through everything of what I'm doing to work remotely. Time means nothing to me. Only time I'm worried about is making sure my cars are running out on time. They're out there and they come back on time. And you may not have that ability. What I'm doing, you may have to be stuck at your location, which I hope you're not. I hope you have freedom, because I heard guys in the past say, I don't have enough time to myself. I always got to go out there and do this and that. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. I'm telling you that right now. You do not have to sit there and be stuck on a time constraint. That I eliminated. That was the first thing that I eliminated before I came out here. You have to be able to work smartly and work where you can be anywhere around the world. Okay. And we talk more about that, but usually with this is not a factor for regular people. Start off with one car, I would say. See how that goes before you start buying a fleet of cars and you don't make heads or tails. I recommend you just starting off with one car. If you don't want to do anything else, you can start off with one car. So we're going to talk about the next subject here. Full-time hosting. So the first thing I want to talk about is building your fleet. We talked about that earlier, but when I built my fleet, I did 2 cars at a time. You want to slowly build it. And I did say one car. That's for people who want to get their feet wet. They don't want to fully commit. If you don't want to fully commit, then this ain't for you. But you want to step in this. If you say, hey, I'm dead set on it, because my reason behind it was I went from one rental car company that was going away, and I already had 2 cars, about to buy 3. And I was like, well, I'm already committed with this rental car thing. So I had 2 cars already on the thing, ready to go. And it helped me out a whole lot. So you want to build your car fleet strategically. You want to see, for example, you want to see how this goes. You want to see how the market reacts to your vehicle. So you should have been already doing a research here, research and marketing, right? Wanted to look at where these cars are at. From that point, you still don't want to buy the car at this step right here. You don't want to buy it at this step. You want to be able to have more information about the vehicles on like the owners and how you do that. That's with Turex. Link will be down below. With Turex, you'll be able to see where these cars are going to. You can actually pull up their URLs and see where they doing a business at, because you might say, well, they're doing a lot of sales, but they may be doing free delivery at a small location near them. Are you willing to do that? I don't know. That's up to you. You don't know exactly where they are. I know that's part of research here, but you definitely want to go ahead, fix, find, and then select what you're going to do. Like what cars are actually doing it, what years, what makes, what models, and whatnot. Then you're going to have to do your shopping. This should be your shopping section right here. You know, shopping is here. And then pinpoint research. Call it pinpoint research again, because you're focusing on exactly, hey, that car is doing pretty well. I got to investigate more, because you may say, I'm an SUV person. That may be you, but then you got to look at your market. Is gas high? Are you in California? Is gas $4, $5? Well, if so, people might not be wanting to drive an SUV because they don't fill up. They don't want to fill up no SUV. Why would they want to rent your car? They might want a gas saver. That's what I felt when I first went to Charlotte. I saw that people was renting my car out. They don't have to gas up one time. They kept saying it in the comments and the reviews. This car saves on gas. I don't have to fill up one time. This is an amazing car. So it's like, okay, this is what we need to do. And then you start looking, you start shopping, you start looking around, look online. And again, All this information is provided down in the course, down below in the comments. You can definitely check that out down in the details for that. Start shopping, whether it's Facebook Marketplace, whether it's your CarMax, whether it's your local shop, and you want to make sure you get a Carfax on a vehicle. From that point, you want to go ahead and get your information all about like the area that you want to go to, not where this guy want to go to where you found, but where you want to go to. Is it worth it? Are you willing to drop this car at an airport? Are you willing to go ahead and drop a car off at a hotel? Are you willing to pick up the person, kind of like Enterprise does, where they pick you up with the vehicle and they drive you to their location and then get out and say, bye, see you later? Are you willing to do that? It's up to you on that point, but you definitely want to be able to execute at step 4. Execute after you get all that information. Decide and execute. Don't be a type of person who's wishy-washy. I will tell you that right now. I do know, I don't know, because I don't know leads you to with no money. So you got to be able to make a decision on what you're going to do and how that's going to impact you. If you feel like you're not able to do something like that, then don't do it. Don't put yourself out further than what you can handle. You know, you don't want to put yourself up in that much water thinking I can still do it. You know, you can't swim. You want to be able to say, hey, I got it. And then as you get used to the water going to receive. You want to make sure that you have everything that you need to do to execute this properly without any issues. Your listings is another thing that we talk about. Your listings is something that you really want to have that can get you going. Again, watch the last video. You want to be descriptive on your vehicle listing, giving it a human feeling, meaning that, hey, I want people to understand that these are lovely leather seats, new car smell, even though this car is 11 years old, whatever, etc., etc., etc. You want to make sure that people can feel it with your words, because that is your avatar right there. You're not there. Your avatar is your words and your pictures that you have. Automatic pricing, you can do that dynamic pricing that they have, or you can do manual pricing. I do manual and dynamic. So it gives me an idea of where I'm at, and I might bump it up some, I might bring it down some, depending on where I'm at with my vehicles being rented out. Another thing I would say too, to make it a lot easier, where I talked about earlier, like time is not an issue for me, is to have remote check-in. Remote check-in is the easiest thing. You basically tell the customer once they give the ID, lockbox code, and they good. Or if they're at the airport ticket, good to go. And then you're set up for success. You don't have to sit there be waiting on guests, because I'll tell you one thing. I told you earlier, I don't like my time wasted. I don't waste my time for anyone. So if they don't show up, that's all right. They show up when they want to. If they go past the time, that's okay. They'll be charged. And that's just being straight truthful with you. You be honest with the guests. You be very transparent with the guests. If you're not transparent, then that's where you have issues. If you're being very clear in your description, you're being very clear with your automated messages, you're not going to have any issues. Turo's going to back you up. The final step in this is to push through with your reviews. I would say with this new policy that we talked about earlier, you want to start pitching to your customers very early. I say you could do it 45 minutes after the trip. You should be able to do it even earlier, to be honest with you. 5 minutes after a trip, when they first get out, because they're already checking out the vehicle. They're checking out the vehicle, you know, it's right there. It popped up in their hair. You might well do the review. You're already in it. And you just make sure that they give you everything. You explain to them, because with this whole Turo process, you got to tell them that you have to have a score of 5 in all categories, because Turo's looking at this, they're weighing heavily on it, and then offer them something. Always offer them something, because if you're saying, well, can you please, they don't give a damn. I'll be honest with you. Say, hey, if you give me a 5-star review, I'm going to give you a discount for your next trip. They may not come back to North Carolina, okay, but they can still use that one way or another. You know, at the end of the day, you might have guests as regular guests. So it doesn't hurt to do that. And some guests will rent, some guests don't. And that's something that Turo has to deal with. Now, while we're talking about the bottom line here, Turo can be a profitable full endeavor, full time, if you choose to do that. That means that you can fire your 9 to 5 job if you do this right. If you scale correctly, I'm not sitting there saying you just quit your job. I'm not saying that. When you feel comfortable, if you feel like you want to quit your job and you got everything in place, and this is actually replacing your income, then you can fire your boss. You can be the true boss of your destination. But you got to weigh in the pros and cons. Don't look at just, oh, the gross profit, because they will show you the gross profit. You got to take into account for expenses. You got to take about with the fees. Yes, Turo do take fees depending on what type of protection plan you get. And you want to make sure that you're covering all your ends before you take that type of leap and bound. Now, you got to understand you're going to have challenges no matter what you do, whether you take my course, whether you take another person's course, whether you go through a whole training session or you read my book or whatever. I have a book actually. There's always going to be hiccups because the variable will be your customers in Turo. You got to take that in consideration. For example, this whole matrix thing that they have in place that actually hurt a lot of people, to be honest with you. A lot of folks were kind of like, hey, like, what's going on with this? And I think that's something that would pass over time, to be honest with you, because if they go too granular with it, meaning that they want to go all minute nitpick and stuff, you're gonna have a lot of hosts that want to leave. But for me, I'm not leaving. I don't think you should leave either too, because those are vanity matrix, meaning that they want to make everything look pretty and bright and this and that. And it may be that you have a guest who is basically honestly crap. They're straight up crap. They complain about, oh, it was a piece of lint. This was in the car. Why was this in the car? Oh, stuff like that. And Turo don't go into detail, which again, like I say, they should. If they have a bad review, just like anything that I dealt with when I worked at AT&T, when I worked at Sears, if there was a complaint, you call that customer and you find out what was wrong. I read your review. Is there anything that we can do to help fix the problem? They don't go and do the extra step. Now, as a host, you have to do the extra step. I know that sounds bad, but you have to do extra steps. Some of the steps I do, leave thank you cards, put a water bottle in there. Show I appreciate that. I thank them for renting my car out, you know, letting them know that, hey, we're here for them if they need anything. We make it very easy for our guests to actually get in the car and go. So, got my notes here, and I want to say to you on this too. You want to be very, very true as a host to you, and you're a host as well too, or about to be a host. I want this to be very transparent. I don't want you to feel like, oh, it's all good, because there are goods and bads. It weighs on what you truly want to do. It weighs on what you truly want to have, because there are going to be some nicks on your car. I won't lie. You're going to have that. If it's a car that you personally have and you feel like someone touched it the wrong way, that's it. Don't put that car on there. I will tell you that right now. You need to learn how to be unattached to these vehicles, meaning that, hey, this is not a car I would drive every day. It's not even my style. Okay, go through the insurance process, go through your claims or whatnot. But you don't stop. Wherever you don't stop, there's so many people quit because they think the wrong way. And you got to go in there with the right mindset as well, too. Guys, if you're serious about this, if you're really serious about really maximize your earnings, you want to know all the loopholes, all the things that I've been through that got me to where I needed to be, to nearly a six-figure salary, just doing Turo. There's a link. It's a link somewhere around here. You'll see it. Go ahead and click on that thing. Make sure you do. It's called carsharegenius.com. And you can see all the reviews from people that are my students that would tell you firsthand experience what they felt when they got involved. And it's also a book that you can check out if you feel like, hey, I need to read more about it and this and that. Go ahead and check out the book. The book is out there for you. It'll be down below. But you need to have knowledge before you just step into Turo, because if you're not aware about it, you need to have a guide. You need to have something that can tell you left, right, green light, red light, yellow light, yield, stop, all those stuff. Just like you would take a driver's test, you're going to study for it. You're not going to go in there. You're not going to do that. So you want to make sure you get right. But I do have a question for you. What is stopping you from becoming a Turo host full time? Drop your comments down below. Again, guys, if you're new to the channel, you stayed this long, please make sure you throw some likes up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, and share. Again, my name is Mr. Luke Evan Brooks, and I see you next time. Take care.